Okay, so this is going to be a mini multi-video series about Rails basics from start to finish. The first thing that you do when you hop into the code challenge is to grab a whiteboard, sit down before you even start coding, read your README start to finish, line by line, and then plan out your models and associations. You want to plan out your application before you hop into coding. It may be really tempting to sit down and start hacking right away, but I promise you, planning out your models and associations from the very beginning will save you a lot of time and remigrations if you spend 5 minutes drawing them out versus trying to plan them as you go. So this is my plan for our application from yesterday. My main models are going to be orchestra, conductor, member, and instrument. So I know that a conductor has many orchestras, and an orchestra belongs to a conductor. When thinking out my foreign key and where I want to put that, I like to think about how many IDs would be necessary. So, would it make sense for a single conductor to have many orchestra IDs and need to iterate through them in order to find a specific orchestra, or would it be easier for an orchestra to have a single conductor ID and be able to access that conductor ID right away and query that conductor? It would be easier for the orchestra. It would be the orchestra. The orchestra should have the foreign key because there should only be one conductor per orchestra. So that would make the most sense, and that's why I chose a has many and belongs to in this case. Very similarly, over a member and instrument, a single member might have many instruments, but an instrument will belong to a member. Now, it doesn't make a lot of sense for a member to have many instruments. Imagine if you had 10 instruments and you had to have a identifying key for each and every single one that you had to carry around with you all the time or keep in a place that you need to find. It's not very effective or efficient. I would lose those keys personally. I don't know about you. What would make more sense to me is if my instruments had an identifying tag with my name on it. So every instrument should have a member ID versus the members having to carry the instrument's ID. So again, this is a has many and a belongs to. So this is where it gets complicated, right? A member can be in many orchestras, and an orchestra obviously has many members. So this is a many-to-many relationship. But knowing that, I know I'm going to need a join table right away, so I made this orchestra members join table. So the question is then, where do I put my foreign key? Should I put my foreign key on my orchestras, or should I put it on my members? So it wouldn't make a lot of sense for the members to carry the ID from the many orchestras, and it wouldn't make a lot of sense for the orchestras to carry the many IDs for the members. It would be easier if there was some connection between the two that held their IDs instead. So almost like this is a member's card that identifies the orchestra that the member is associated and the member's ID. If you think about your insurance card, something like that, it's a very similar relation, right? An orchestra has many members, and members can belong to many orchestras. So if you have a membership card to many libraries, with your identifier, it works the same way. You can belong to many libraries, but there's only one you, and libraries may have many members, but it's easier for the library to keep track of you if you have a card identifying you're part of that library and you have an ID that is associated to you and you alone, so the library can look you up. So, that being said, let's go ahead and run Rails new. So, I have a brand new directory. and we are going to run Rails new, and what are we going to call this? Let's call it Benaroya Hall Scheduler. For those of you who don't know, Benaroya Hall is the orchestra and symphony hall across the street. So this is installing. This is what it should look like. Don't worry about some of the errors you might see. If it was unsuccessful, there will be a very large obvious error. All of this is pretty good signs that everything's working. So I'll just wait for this to finish. Awesome. If you see this part at the end, your little happy cake emojis, then you are good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and stop this video and prepare for the next one. I'll post this in a series on a playlist so you can find only the area of the application that you need work on, but the entire playlist will be building out the same application. So if you just want to watch them in order and watch me build out every single one, just go ahead and start the playlist from the beginning and watch all the way down. All right, see you in a second.